let's talk about the conundrum that a lot of people say these defections have once again reignited about what is right and what is wrong. Because there is a constitutional protection for political association, right? But the APC, when it went into power, had less than 60 seats in the Nigerian Senate, right? Now, it has close to the two-thirds it needs to get whatever legislation it needs to pass. And some say that that is not fair. It's not fair that you don't win, through the ballot, but you win through defections, or you gain so much number through defections, whether it's state governments or even in the legislative chambers. Talk to me as someone who has been in the National Assembly.
No. In the State Assembly.
Talk to me about what the conversations are, because when you hear lawmakers say, listen, this is in the best interest of our constituents, our parties are not as stable as we need, and to get the best, that's why we are, cross-carpeting to the other side that seems a lot more stable. Does it make sense to you, and do you think there's a legal loophole there for defections and how it appears to be robbing the parties that win the elections?
Let me be very frank with you. I think as a nation, we have missed it. You ask me why? For allowing, with utmost humility to him, President Ahmed Tinubu, to have been the president of this country. It's a big miscalculation on the part of Nigerians. Before now, he doesn't need to told to have his will. You see, one thing about parliamentarians, it's all about majority. They speak for the majority of this country. But you agree with me, see, the section, especially this National Assembly, some will refer to it as being a rubber stamp. You agree with me that everything is just let the president always, all the time, even if at midnight. You saw what happened to the issue of the rivers, that issue of declaring a state of emergency, a voice vote. My brother, when the persons that were at the National Assembly as to speak that day, they're not even up to 1/3 of the population of the National Assembly. So that's where we find ourselves. We don't need, President Ahmed Tinubu doesn't need to have to have his way. He's a man that is extremely, brilliant when it comes to the politics and politicking of the Nigerian state. I must give it to him, because I followed him while he was, the governor of Lagos State. I followed him since then. Yeah, at the point he was the only opposition, governor in this state, and he had his way. Even when the then president, President Obije Olusegun Obasanjo, as he then was, trying to the issue of creating LCDA, local government, he muzzled him by way of holding back his allocation. But still, if he find his way, be able to meander, and here he is as the president. So for me, I have said it. The mistake we miscalculated by allowing him to be the president, because all the time we'll have his way, even while he's sleeping.
Do you understand why some people say, listen, if you are saying that the president is very good at playing the game of politics,
very well,
why then are you blaming him for people cross-carpeting? It's good politics on his part.
See, don't misconstrue me. I have never blamed him for one day. I have never. If you've tried to follow the way I've tried to analyze it, I have not. See, he's too intelligent for the average Nigerian politicians. This is the first time as a nation we're having a man that has been a real politician and a billionaire to be a president of this country. If you recall, that was one of the reasons that the military hierarchy kicked against having MK Abiola as the president of this country. Go back to history. So one of the reasons. So for us, we've missed it, and it is an error on the part of Nigerians. So for me, I have never, in the blame on his doorstep. He's a smart man. He's a smart fellow. And
you don't think? I mean, you talked about some of the connections between the people that have defected recently to, cases with the EFCC and things like that. You don't think people are being forced to join the APC?
I would say yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, I tried to give you a picture just now. Some persons believed I arranged it on two reasons. One, they believe that the APC, the All Progressive, Party Congress, can bring them to power again in 2027. Two, that they need security. They need protection. Perhaps in the course of them, before their present seat, presiding over the collective patrimony of the people, they must have soiled their hands. So they will need protection that will protect them from persecution from the ICPC, EFCC, and the likes. So perhaps that is why they've decided to pitch tent with the ruling party. For me, the freedom of association is there, and the freedom of speech, but it's after speech that we are not very sure.
Right.
But for me, they are free.
Talk to me about these recent development, the rejection of one of 6 bills that couldn't scale through in the House of Representatives. The idea of rotational presidency, I mean, is the theme of the conversation for 2027. The FCT minister recently, while giving yet another media parley, said the PDP, for instance, which is the second biggest party, so to say, the main opposition party, cannot present a candidate from the North in 2027. I mean, that's his position. But you understand that there is this shifting narrative about it's the turn of the South to produce the next president, whether it's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or somebody else, but it has to go to the South. And that has also been re-echoed in the National Assembly, in the House of Representatives. Although this bill is now dead and buried, but do you understand where this sentiment of rotation is, coming back to?
I have tried to listen and have a kind of understanding of the opposition or the voices against the rotational presidency. I have not been able to pinpoint to a very cogent reason. All the reasons, adduced to their thinking, to me, it is pedestrian and infantile. I must be very frank with you. Very pedestrian. I must be very frank. That the issue of, it will bring about incompetency in administering this federation. In every zone, with utmost humility and simplicity, we have competent hands. Let me try to situate it in Edo State, for instance. Let me try to use Edo State, for instance. The last, governorship, race in Edo, the PDP featured a very prominent, son of this country, in the person of Dr. Asolime Ligodalo. To some of us, we believe that he's not a candidate of a governor. He's a candidate of a president. He better fit as a president. For somebody to now, I read it, one of whether Madaki is something representing, I can't actually pinpoint the name, that accusing that it will bring about mediocrity and what have you. And the issue that they talked about ethnic rivalry and whatever. For me, it negates the issue of the federal character. If you are saying that the issue of rotational presidency is not we are not mature for it now, or perhaps it is premature. So what do you take federal character, for instance? So why we align federal character? I mean, so for me, yeah, the issue of rotational presidency we address one and very significant, the issue of marginalization, especially our brothers in the southeast.
How does that work in a democracy, though? If, say, for instance, I come from the northeast, and if in 2027 is the turn of the northeast to produce a president,
definitely,
and I miss out on that, I can't bring myself to contest ever again until the next...
When you say you miss out, how do you mean?
What I'm saying is, if, for instance, I don't get the shot in the year that was allocated for the North...
Definitely.
I can't contest.
Other citizens of that constituency.
No, I'm saying in the next election, I can't contest because it has been zoned to a different region.
Yes.
And that doesn't make sense in the idea of a democracy.
Let me say this. When I lost my father, when I was in jail, I grew up with my grandmother. So my grandmother would always say, he said, if a man in a community says he's the only one that have a cure to a particular sickness, it's the only one, monopoly, you know that man is the cause of that sickness. Because you miss out, or you want to ascribe that you are the only competent person in that zone. No, there are other competent hands. So if you miss out, go to another. See, even when it's open, we have had the cause to have the never do well. My secondary school teacher will refer to some of my classmates then that will usually sit at the back and constitute. You know what I mean? Teacher then will refer to them. They never do well. Say no, they are there making the noise and constituting. But that we have the list of us administering and presiding over our collective patrimony as we speak very just now. So for us, the issue of the issue of rotational, it will significantly address the issue of marginalization.
And should it
that is not the bane. That is not the bane of these pockets of cry for secession, like the IPOB, for instance. It will address it.
Yeah, and do you think
the what's it called in the West? That's what's it, the one the old Duduwa, or so to speak, the old Duduwa nation. It will address it, knowing fully well that yes, so 4 years time or 8 years time, it will be in my zone.
And should it be in this current form? I mean, the bill has been rejected, obviously. But do you think micro-zoning is a bigger problem compared to macro-zoning? Because right now what we have in principle is macro-zoning. They say west, north or south. But the idea of the bill is for each of the 6 geopolitical...
Definitely. That's more ideal. So that to go around. As you speak very just now, you agree. The one we've had in the south has always been in the west. The Yoruba enclave. In the north.
I mean, you had a Jonathan.
That was just, it was an accidental president. You and I know. After that,
he was elected in 2011.
But in the sequence of it, right, you understand that perfectly the West. But it was, that happened as, permit me, I won't want to say it is in the hand of God. I don't know where to ascribe it to. Whether I say the hand to left or the hand to right, I don't know. I'm a little bit confused at that point.
Okay. We have a couple of minutes to spare, but let me get your take on the actions of the Department of State Services filing a lawsuit against Professor Pat Otomi over his role in launching the shadow government. First of all, what do you think about the shadow government as a concept, and what do you make of this reaction from the DSS?
I'm a little bit confused. Because very just now I believe that we have, especially the security formations, they have too many works in their doorstep. They need to just let, they need to just don't need to look at to be labeled with the trivias. For me,
you think this is a trivial issue?
It's a trivial issue. It's a issue you have to do with politics. It's not to do with politics. Even in our small family units, there's this issue of yes, you are not being recognized, or you are not doing it well, even between a man and a wife. It was just gonna call for a family meeting. Yeah, we will address it. If the president is doing well, or permit me, as they will say, the presidency is doing well, there won't be any this pocket of, perhaps it would have been at a very substantial level. For the DSS, with utmost humility, I think they are missing it. They are missing their core mandate to gather information. As we speak, there are killings left, right, center in every nook and cranny in the length and breadth of this country. What are the DSS? What are they doing? What are they doing?
And what do you think about the idea of the shadow government as explained by Pat Otomi, and what it stands to achieve?
For me, I don't see anything wrong with it. Is the issue of to galvanize the people, because my brother, we must say a spade is a spade. It's never a garden fork. As there's nothing, as we speak very just now, that is working in this country. With utmost humility, I don't know. Maybe I'm just coming from the moon, but as I speak, is it in the economy? Is it in politics? Is it in security? Is it in the social life? Nothing. And we're not becoming an object of ridicule, even with smaller nations. Even Burkina Faso, Mali, just name them, Cameroon.
Right.
They not see us as a pariah, state. Permit me, as we have it currently, this is a fair state. Permit me.
Okay. I mean, let's agree to disagree about the adjectives to use, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that would not...
Definitely. It's my opinion.